Well, today's kind of decision day for the XS20, whether I'm going to keep it or not. I haven't quite made up my mind what I'm going to do yet. So I'm going to go out and do a little shooting with it. Maybe some photos, maybe some videos. And we're going to decide over the day whether I want to keep it or not. All I can really do is just kind of give you my God's honest opinion about the XS20. All I can really do is compare it to cameras I've had in the past or my Sony cameras that I currently have. So when you compare it against the XS10, it is just way, way better. Everything has been improved over the XS10. So if you're a big fan of the XS10, man, you're gonna love this camera. Highly advised to upgrade. But also I tried the X-T5 and the XH2S. And those cameras, they were just way too much for me. You know, they were for what I am looking for, way too much of a camera for what I would need. So those cameras are, if you're wanting something, you know, maybe a little bit less expensive, less on the feature set, the XS20 is also a way to go. But when you start comparing them against the Sony cameras, they're just not as good. Autofocus isn't good, the overheating is not as good, stabilization is not as good. On down the list, to me, Sony cameras are just better as far as performance goes. Now you can always have this, you know, how the camera makes me feel, and you know, do I like taking pictures with this or that or things like this, but I'm just talking about overall performance. And just in my hands, the Sonys outperform the Fujis, and in particular the XS20. In my opinion now, this is my opinion. That's all I can do is tell you my opinion. Kind of one of the reasons I like having two systems, the Fuji and the Sony, is because I can be shooting Sony for a week or 2 weeks or something, and I just need a little bit of a change, you know, and I can pick up that Fuji, and it's just like a major curveball, you know. It's just like something completely different. It looks different, it feels different, everything about it's different, and I kind of like that, you know. I like kind of mixing it up every now and then. So for me, Fuji's been good in that role, and just give me something else to look at, you know. Just give me something else to use, because sometimes you just need a little bit of a change, you know. And Fuji seems to be a good place to do that. Basically, they have a good curveball. We can try the stabilization. I tried it the other day, and everybody was bagging on it pretty hard. So it's definitely not as good as the Sony cameras with the electronic image stabilization or active stabilization. But you can see, like, I'm just leaning here against this rail, holding the camera up on this little tripod, and it seems to be pretty steady. I think as long as you're not moving around just a whole lot, vlogging or, you know, trying to film while you're moving, the Fuji does it pretty good. If you're just doing slow pans, you know, locked off steady shots or shots like this, the Fuji, it's good for that. So don't let the stabilization video I did the other day, you know, scare you off the Fuji, because again, I walk like an elephant with cement tennis shoes on. That's how I walk naturally. In fact, the other day when I was out doing that test, I was wearing Crocs, and the ground was like super uneven and messed up, and I was, you know, I could barely even walk steady with or without a camera in my hand. I don't think anything would have done good. But I think if you're, you know, as far as the stabilization goes, if you know your camera's limitations, you'll be just fine with the Fuji. If you're gonna be walking and talking a lot, like you have to walk and tell your story at the same time, you'd probably be better off with the GoPro, or like an Osmo Action 4 or something like that anyway. So just my thoughts on stabilization. Is what I'm going to be using for the next few years. I mean, I know I love taking pictures and videos with the Fuji XS20 and Fuji in general, but over the next few years I'm going to be really heavily involved again with my daughter's Palm Squad and taking pictures like that of her and her friends and kind of what they have going on. We're heavily involved in that, I think. She's already asked me to come take some headshots of them. And, you know, being a gearhead or gearaholic or gasaholic or whatever you want to call me, the first thing that runs into my mind is, okay, I'm going to need a flash. If we take, I do have a, you know, a speed light, but I want a proper flash, strobe light. Then I'll need a softbox for that. Then I'll probably need another one on the backside for a kicker. You know, I start watching all these flash videos. Most of them have at least 2 lights. So as soon as she mentions something like that, that's exactly where my head goes. How can I do it? What kind of gear is it going to take for the job? You know, what's the best position of the lights? You know, something I'm interested in, fine. But man, why does it always have to turn into a huge purchase? You know, when you start kind of looking at the money that I'm going to have to be spending, or I want to spend, or I want to invest, do I really need to invest in Fuji when all I'm going to be doing is just kind of taking my own, you know, enjoyment photos? I don't know. That's a question I need to answer for myself. I'm certainly super excited that I waited into the hottest part of the day to come out and film this video. It's awesome. It's about 100 degrees. Heat index is about 110 right now. You know, no big deal. But hey, I'm out here shooting a video for you guys, and I hope you've been enjoying it so far. Just another little, you know, it's more of a personal problem than anything. You know, as soon as I get this XS20 in the mail and I start using it for a few days, I automatically start thinking about what lenses I can add to it. You know, 18 to 55, that'd be a good lens to have. Even though I have the 16 to 80. I don't like the 16 to 80, so maybe the 18 to 55 is better. Maybe the 18 to 50 Sigma 2.8. I'd probably like that better than both of them. The Viltrox 13, I already ordered that one. And then also, of course, I want the 70 to 300 or some huge telephoto lens as well. So, you know, as soon as I get a new camera, and that's just a personal thing, a personal issue I have with me, I start thinking, well, I need this, 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 and this lens to complete the kit. And that just never stops, you know? There's no reason to keep spending money on the same lenses and the same accessories that I already have for Sony. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But I want it to, you know? will say that I've been out shooting for about an hour or so, and it's 94 degrees. I've been in and out of the shade, in and out of the sunlight. Shot everything on 30 frames per second, all my B-roll on 60 frames per second. And I've had major overheating issues today with the XS20. I mean, like it's overheated twice already. So if you buy this camera, that might be a big issue. If you plan on shooting in 60 frames per second, maybe 240 frames per second HD or anything like that. But it's been a problem today for sure. So I think that's going to be pretty much it for me with the Fuji for now. I think right now at this particular time, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to continue forward with Fuji. Love the XS20, you know, the XT5 and the XH2S as well. So, you know, if you have any of those cameras, man, you have a great camera. Don't let anybody try to tell you anything otherwise. It's just for me right now, I'm so heavily invested in Sony, it just makes more sense for me to continue to invest into Sony. Like if I need a lens, it's not that big a deal to buy a Sony lens, or if I need a flash, I want something that works with Sony system or something like that. Whereas Fuji, I'm having to buy everything over again. So right now, it just makes more sense for me to get rid of the Fuji, invest that money into my Sony system, because that's what I'm gonna be using heavily for the next 2 years, at least I foresee. But man, Fuji's so good. I do love those picture profiles. Good thing is, they'll sell me another one in 6 months if I change my mind. So you can let me know what you think down below. Am I crazy? Should I keep the Fuji, start investing everything in the Fuji? Or should I just get rid of it and continue on with my Sony? I think the decision is fairly easy for me, at least from a financial and a performance standpoint. There's something about Fuji I just love, you know, and it's hard to give up on that. But I think for now, Sony's gonna be the right camera for me. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Stay with Sony, go with Fuji, keep both. I don't know, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Hope to goodness it cools down in Oklahoma soon, because it is freaking hot out here.